Hey, so I'm not sure if you know this, but I like Toradora. I'm sure that's a shock to learn, really. Despite the fact I've probably made, 7 or 8 videos on it at this point, I haven't actually just sat down and talked about it. Today, we are going to talk about how the ending of Toradora sets it apart from others in the high school rom-com slice of life genre. A couple things I need to say. Spoilers, because I'm going to basically talk about the whole ending. And so if you have not seen the ending of the show and you intend on watching it, don't watch this video, because let me tell you, when I was watching the show, I got ahead of myself and I watched a certain scene from episode 25. You know the one, if you've seen that episode. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, so please don't spoil this for yourselves. This isn't going to be super analytical. It's not me looking deep into it to figure things out. This is just me ranting because somehow I haven't done so yet. Okay, now we're going to get into spoilers. When I say the ending of the show, I don't mean the part where Tyga left for a year. And then everyone was like, huh, that's kind of weird. Because there are several videos on analyzing that. At the end of the light novel, when Tyga leaves, it's only for about a month instead of a whole year. Because when she leaves, it's probably it's right after Valentine's Day. So it's probably late February. And so she's back by the beginning of the new school year, which would begin in April in Japan. So she's only gone for about a month or two in the light novel. And then she's like, oh my gosh, Ryuji, me and my family just moved in not that far away, so now we can do our last year of school together, yay! The interesting thing about this show is that for most rom-com slice of life anime, most of them are adaptations of a manga that has the same name and stuff, right? Usually when they start making the anime, the manga's not complete, and the show will be really good, but then they'll never end up making a second season. Well, not never. Kaguya-sama is an exception. But they'll drag out for so long, the manga will, and then they'll only make one season to the anime, so that the ending is not very satisfying. Maybe they'll kiss or something, not even half the time. In spoilers, in the end of the Blue Spring Ride anime, they don't even get together. I'm pretty sure they would in the manga, which I'm actually going to read the whole thing, so usually the manga shows them off until after they've even graduated high school and getting married, but it's so long that they can't adapt all of the manga into an anime, you know? And so usually it's only one season, and the ending you get is kind of huh, I mean, it's fine, but it's not always super satisfying, you know? But then we got Toradora, okay? Toradora is a light novel series, which I guess makes it different. I mean, there's also a Toradora manga, but I'm pretty sure they started making that after they made the anime, considering it's not even done yet. What are y'all doing? It's one volume every 2 years. This is a light novel. There's only 10 volumes, so it's really not too long. And they really went and adapted the whole thing, which is good. Now, of course, it doesn't really show Tyga and Ryuji way off in the future getting married or whatever. That is what the visual novel game is for, in that one picture they released for the anniversary. People want a second season. I feel like a second season wouldn't work as well as a movie or an OVA or something. At the end, they don't just kiss and then that's the end. I mean, kind of. I don't know, the show feels different because at the beginning, like I said, it's just your average slice of life. You got these two people who couldn't really be considered friends trying to set each other up with their best friends, right? That's the whole point of the show. The two people they're interested in, they don't want to get with them because they can see that Tyga and Ryuji themselves, they kind of got a thing going on. And there is one part where Ami's yeah, this isn't a very good relationship. And for a while it's not. It's just them kind of arguing. When they first meet, the relationship they have really isn't that great because they're just like calling each other names and just kind of being rude overall. But I feel like as time progresses, they get used to each other's company. And like they say, it's more like a familial bond. I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but you know what I mean. I feel like it's actually good to have in a relationship, being like really close friends and stuff, which I think is also what they become. They become really close friends by the end. You know, Valentine's Day comes around, stuff happens, and then Minori's like, so do you love Taiga? And he's like, yeah. Apparently I'm kind of not smart because the first time I watched the show, I was like, where did that come from? Like, this feels so random. Obviously they do care for each other very much, but going back and watching it the second time, I can tell more that there were parts that were, well, blatantly romantic, to say the least. Minori and Kitamura, they could tell that, yeah, they're probably gonna end up together, which is why they rejected the two of them, essentially. They could have gone up to each other and they could have been like, hey, I like you, and then they could have gone together, and that would be the end. And that would be fine, but that's not what happened. Oh man, they went all the way with this, which is why it's so good. They go and they hang out on that bridge. They're like, you know, I mean, like, we could run away or something. And so then they go and they get their stuff. Ryuji finds out that his mom runs away. He's like, well, I guess running away is actually not a very good idea. She gave him, like, his grandpa's watch or whatever. An argument I see a lot is that we don't see much of them in a relationship, so it's kind of weird to imagine. And yeah, honestly, you're kind of right about that. It is really weird to actually imagine them in a relationship, like romantically, because so long they were just, well, friends basically, and they were hanging out all the time. I don't think the point of this is to show them being all romantic. It's to show how they got there, I guess. You know what I mean? Because it's more exciting to watch the journey rather than the actual relationship itself a lot of the time. I mean, I'm a sucker for it, but that's just me. Ryuji is like, hey, this is my wife. And I'm like, okay. And then obviously there's that one scene at the beginning of episode 25, which I was talking about. It's perfect. You know, we could just wait for everybody to, like, be chill with us getting married. And I'm just like, oh man, you don't even know. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so then they leave. And then Taiga has that thing from her mom or whatever. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to make things right with her. And people are mad because they're like, why did she leave Ryuji? It wasn't about her leaving him. It was about making things right with her family. Because they were saying, hey, let's wait until everyone else is good with this. And so that's what she's doing. I will admit, the last episode is a little bit rushed. So after you finish it, you just sit there and then you're like, huh. And then if you're me, you fall into post-Toradora depression, which has lasted almost a year for me at this point, but that's fine. You know what? Yeah, this makes sense why she would do that. And yeah, of course it's like sad or whatever, because it's like they were without each other for a whole year, or like 2 months in the case of the original. She still comes back after all that time. They still want to be together. I feel like it's also nice to imagine what happened in the time that they were separated, because it's like, well, they could have gone off and dated other people or whatever, but they didn't, and that shows that they are committed. It's weird. I feel like you don't realize how good the show is till after you finish it. It's like slice of lifey at the beginning, and then it gets really intense, and you're just like, oh shoot. But yeah, that's just me. I guess that's all, so. And don't forget, I am going to compare the light novels to the anime one of these days. And he's like, well, you want to go stay with my girlfriends? No.